Funding now on Indiegogo, it's Shadowbinders, our second chance offer to get 2 hardcovers of our classic webcomic delivered to your door. Steampunk, fantasy, and romantic comedy from Clownfish Comics. Go to Indiegogo, check out the link in the description below. Now on with the video. Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Kneon. I am here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hello.
And we're going to talk about Superman and Lois setting a new streaming record for the CW. Mm-hmm. You give people a solid show that appeals to a lot of people.
Yeah, mass appeal.
And you give them a Superman show that's respectful of the lore. And guess what? They watch it.
Yeah, imagine that.
They watch it. They watch a lot of it. And we're going to talk about this and maybe the course correction, possibly. I highly doubt it, but you know what? This is a good step in the right direction. How the media is already trying to tear down Superman and Lois with the story of the writer who got ousted because, she was basically too woke for the show. And she wanted a lot of changes, and they wouldn't go for it. They parted ways. Now she's out there doing a lot of damage. Because we can't have nice things.
No, I'm just tired of it. Like with CW, it's pretty much, shock value. Well, look like they did with Riverdale and Archie, and then they did it to Nancy Drew with Batwoman. All these shows that they try as hard as they can to appeal to a certain demographic, and they try to find they go back to the formula of going to a show like they did with Arrow or like you said Smallville, and they try to appeal to a wider demographic, and it effing works. Who'd have thunk it?
Imagine that. Hey, because Warner Brothers, they want to make money now. They got to make money,
right?
So we get this. We get the Snyder cut. It seems like they're trying to maybe, at least meet people halfway. I don't know. We'll see what happens. Superman and Lois might wind up being a train wreck yet. It's too early to tell. I did watch the pilot. I liked it quite a bit.
You did?
I did. I remember talking to
my parents liked it. They were saying to me.
They watched it?
They did, yes.
I didn't know
they said they liked it, yes.
It was good.
My parents, are watching the show and like it.
Yeah, so there you go. It's got cross-generational appeal. So before we get into it any further, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. We're over 181,000 subs. Thank you for the support. And I was pleasantly surprised because this is, I believe, kind of a spin-off of Supergirl because they've got the same Clark and Lois that they had from Supergirl. But I'm not 100% sure yet if it's in the same universe or not. Now, the salt was flowing right away with this show because they canceled Supergirl. And instead we get Superman and Lois. Which
is already performing
very well.
Better.
Supergirl, actually, it started out, it wasn't that bad.
I found it boring.
It was boring, but it wasn't terrible.
I watched it first, and I just got bored quick, so I stopped watching it.
In the CW shows, I have zero hope for. Now, we both enjoyed
I did like
Arrow.
Legends of Tomorrow.
Yeah, Legends of Tomorrow was pretty good.
I did like that one.
But we watched Arrow regularly. I watched it through the end of the 4th season. I'm like, I'm about done. This happened to me with Smallville too, where the CW shows, they seem to hit their stride the 2nd, 3rd season. Then by the 4th or 5th season, I tap out. And that's what happened with Smallville too. Once they moved the show out of Smallville and into Metropolis and college and the Junior Justice League and all that, I'm like, I'm done. This isn't Smallville anymore. You could have ended it, seasons before. And same with Arrow. I'm like, 4 seasons. Do we got to do this again?
Yeah.
I actually was very surprised at how good Superman and Lois was, how solid it was. It does feel like a throwback to older, better shows, frankly. But we see that CW is, pandering pretty hard to a certain demographic with shows like Batwoman, Again, this one could come off the rails, but people seem to like it. So let's talk about that first, and then we're going to talk about the damage, the salt that's flowing from a former writer on the show and her story about, all the racism and toxicity and masculine and toxic masculinity.
Basically the same excuses that we give. Every time we don't get our way, it's because of racism and misogyny.
You can't fire people like this when they have a chip on their shoulder, because if you do, even if you fire them for legitimate reasons,
we don't know. If we're going to be fair and honest, we don't know. So I'm not going to say that because we don't know.
But this does seem to happen a lot where you get people that are constantly nitpicking and complaining, and they get gone, and then they immediately go to the media.
That's my thing. We don't know why they were let go.
Yeah.
But that's the story. I mean, I think maybe trying to really really be pushy about the fact that you're going to make Clark Kent's parents not white when they've always been white might have been part of the problem, because you're like it was not going to be there from the beginning. It seems like they wanted to wokeify this, and the reason it's succeeding is because they're keeping it in the middle to try to appeal to a larger group of people.
So coming from comic book resources, and I don't think they mentioned the writer Nadria Tucker, but here we go. Superman and Lois sets a new streaming record for the CW. The debut of Superman and Lois yielded the largest streaming numbers the CW has ever had, pulling in 3.25 million viewers over 7 days. Holy crap. Compare that to Supergirl and Batwoman falling off a cliff. Yeah, it drew big numbers. The pilot, which aired on February 23rd, drew 3.25 million viewers in live +7 ratings, the Nielsen Company's viewership said. The additional days show an 86% rise in viewers from the start to the end of the period. The Superman and Lois pilot is also the best rated 2021 premiere on the CW, garnering a 0.76 rating over 7 days with adults under the age of 50.
But I can tell you people over 50 are watching it as well.
I was just going to say that, yeah. It's attracted the most viewers since Crisis on Infinite Earths, which is pretty impressive. They said it's a spinoff of Supergirl, which I believe it is, et cetera, et cetera. Now, Rotten Tomatoes, it's actually doing pretty good.
Yeah, it is. And they're kind of like lining up here too.
Yeah, this is about what we used to see on Rotten Tomatoes. Usually, but not always. You had pretty even, critics and audiences a lot of times weren't that different. And then we started in the last couple of years having these massive divides where the critics were like so ridiculously inflated on the numbers, where it's like, oh, this is a 99%. And then the audience is like, nah, this is like
a 10.
It's like a 10, So even if there were like a 10%, 20% difference, I'd be like, yeah,
this is lining up pretty well.
Yeah, so it's pretty decent. It's pulling in good numbers for the CW. Again, when you create a show with mass appeal, and you kind of leave now there's a little bit of politics in it, I guess. I know in the very first episode, Lois and Lana Lang's husband were kind of discussing the difference between living in a metropolitan area and living in a small town, but it didn't like come to blows or anything like that. It was just like, you've got your opinions, your city slicker opinions, I got my opinions, and that's how it's gonna be. Kind of like real life.
Yeah, I was saying that's why it's relatable. That's probably why people like it, because they can relate to it and they feel like it's a superhero show that they feel like they can watch and relate to.
So the critics seem to like it too. I know Twitter actually liked it. I was surprised. Twitter was like, yeah, this guy is Superman. He's a very good Superman. And, we've got the former writer out there, Nadria Tucker, that she was not happy with what went down, obviously, because she's no longer working on the show. But again, what we had initially heard was she pushed for Clark's parents to be diverse, even though, spoiler, they're not in the show very much anyway.
No, and they've always been a certain way, and that's just the way it is, because they're supposed to represent, like, the whole point is because they're supposed to be like from the Midwest, they're supposed to be like the normal farmer type and everything else that people that usually bash them all the time because they're white rednecks.
Yeah.
And so why would you change that? I mean, it's working for you.
So here's what she had to say, because we can never have a show that is more traditional that audiences like without there being some kind of media spin put on it.
I see you went out to the Mary Sue.
Yes, because I want the spiciest.
We go there so you don't have to.
We go there so you don't have to. So this is what Nadria Tucker said. She was fired off of the show. She did not part ways. She did not leave.
Now, of course, we're only hearing her side of the story.
Right. So here's her side of the story.
Extremist feminist side.
My personal opinion, having read other interviews, is she sounds like nothing made her happy. She wasn't a good fit, and it was probably like, you know what, just go, because we can't make you happy. This is what she said, though. This is her story. In the grand scheme of things that have happened to people in the course of working in Hollywood, I've not experienced a fraction of the worst of the stuff that happened. She talked to the Huffington Post originally, and the Mary Sue just, again, chum bucket. They kind of scraped it. But the level of microaggressions and toxicity is so pervasive that it's almost unavoidable. What's crazy is that it never felt completely toxic at the time. Until I got fired and I got pissed off. And then I decided it was. Then I decided it was going to be toxic. As a writer, you pitch things and you expect to get your pitches rejected. And then cumulatively, you realize all your pitches are getting rejected. And they're all a certain type of pitch.
Well, what's that tell you?
Right.
Well, all your pitches are rejected are a certain type of pitch. Well, then the way it sounds to me was like she had an agenda she wanted to go with. The show had a way they wanted to go. And then they weren't meshing up. That's all there is to it, is what it sounds like. But again, like I said, we weren't there.
But Tucker, now this is the Mary Sue saying this, Tucker, who says she wasn't the only woman or POC on staff. So it wasn't like they just singled her out as being the only, black woman on staff. Says she spoke up about things she saw potentially being problematic, like the show's main black character being a villain from the beginning, Me Too jokes, and a lack of meaningful dialogue between female characters. The Bechdel test.
Wait, so her reason she's mad is because, the black character is being the villain, because, we can't have that. Because why? Because they're a black person?
Yes.
So Me Too jokes. Okay, I didn't watch the show enough, so I don't know. And the lack of meaningful dialogue between female characters. Yes, the Bechdel test.
So this is what she said. All of the buzzwords she's got here: microaggressions, problematic. So she said, this is not a good look. Again, another buzzword. Not a good look. It's problematic and microaggressions. You want to have representation, another buzzword, so that people of color are not only depicted as villains.
A lot of shows have the people of color not depicted as villains.
Most of them do. Showrunner Todd Helbing responded, I think it's Helbing, responded with, "We'll see what we can do. We may have to ship them in because there are not a lot of black people in Canada where the show was filmed. Black Canadians form the third largest visible minority group in Canada." So she's saying that he said, we can't get more black people. We have to ship them in. I don't believe that. I don't know. Unless he's joking. Is he joking or is he?
I have no idea.
I don't know.
Like I said, it's a case of. She said,
we
they
there.
said, we don't know.
Eventually, when she was dropped from the show, she said Helbing told her that her outline and draft were not where he needed them to be for a writer at her level. Now, she was not the only black woman apparently working on the show, or not the only black person, not the only woman working on the show. So in this case, it sounds like my personal opinion, as someone who's fired writers before, her work sucked and she was a pain in the ass. I mean, It's as simple as that.
We don't know that, but I do know that I've seen it before, that some of the people that are the ones that yell the loudest are the ones that are not pulling their weight. But that doesn't necessarily mean it's the case here. I'm just saying. But no matter what her reason is or what their reason was for getting rid of her, the fact still remains that the show is performing.
Yeah.
It's performing, and you know what? Shocker! Get ready. Gonna drop something on you. It's not all white, straight, and male people watching the show that like it either.
You don't pull those numbers unless you're pulling from a lot of different demographics.
Right.
I mean,
because we've seen the shows where they try to pander to certain demographics and they don't pull the numbers. You try to do a show that is this a good show with good characters that just happens to appeal to a lot of people, like we keep telling you all you should do, and look, it does well. Imagine that.
And you keep the characters themselves. I mean, this show got Superman so right. They even, I couldn't believe in the first couple of minutes, they have a throwback to Action Comics #1. That was awesome. He was very excited about that. I was like, this is freaking great. And this guy you can tell he takes Superman seriously. Other Supermen you've seen, sometimes you get the vibe, maybe they're not taking it seriously, but he definitely does. He's like, I am freaking Superman. I'm going to act like freaking Superman.
This is going to probably get me in trouble, but I don't care. I'm going to bring it up anyway.
He's not Henry Cavill.
No. What I was going to say was, what they get so mad about is that fact that it's the Midwest and there's a lot of white people, which probably is true of the Midwest. But you notice how they don't get pissed off when you have Black Panther and Wakanda was all people that weren't white? I mean, if you're going to apples to apples, people, it's because it made sense. Why would there be?
Yeah.
It makes sense here in this situation, because the original story was the way it was set up. So they're not going to just insert people, even though I think they still do, just to make you happy. You didn't go insert white people in Wakanda, to be fair. You didn't see you put a lot of Asians in there, or other people from other countries in there to make sure you were being fair. I'm not wrong here.
Where is the Asian representation
I'm
of
just
Black
because
Panther?
it didn't make sense to do so. And it would be changing a story that doesn't need to be changed. It would be dumb. So, and they focused on good character and good storytelling because it was never actually relevant.
Yeah.
Same here.
Yeah.
It's the exact same thing.
And the characters are themselves. That's the thing. Now, okay, so here's the thing. The other Superman issue is the J.J. Abrams Superman reboot movie. Supposedly is going to be an Elseworlds Superman.
Okay, that makes more sense.
Yeah, it's not going to be Clark Kent.
Okay.
It's going to be another,
then,
I think he's from Earth 23.
Good luck getting that to make money, but have at it.
Yeah, I mean, that's fine. That's, but I mean, obviously there's still a market for Superman. Obviously there's still a market for characters acting like themselves. Obviously,
good stories, good characters. You
good.
can sum it up. Whether it be this or Black Panther or whatever, good characters telling good stories that are authentic to the story. That's all you need.
It's not hard. This is what I don't understand. These studios, guys, it's not hard to get people to watch your show. If you've got a brand like Superman or Batman or whatever, you just give them the characters they fell in love with.
You know what?
It's as simple as that.
I know it's hard to believe, but a lot of people like Superman, and they aren't white, and they aren't male. I know, right? How could they? Because you could only like shows that you personally look like the character. Except that you don't. And a lot of people who like Black Panther aren't black and aren't always male. It happens.
I like Black Panther.
I know, so do I.
Go figure. Everybody's like, I want to see myself as this character. It's like, no, at that point, you can see qualities of yourself, but
you can be relatable, but it's not you.
Right. Like, the character is no longer the character if you make the character like yourself. Again, we're talking that fan fiction mentality. And regarding the writer, we weren't there. We don't know. They bring up there are other issues at Warner Brothers. Of course, probably talking about the Ray Fisher situation, all that. But, there were other people of color working on the show. There were other women working on the show. Sounds like she got fired because she wasn't bringing it. And she's going to grind her axe and the media is going to pick it up because they're like, we can't have this succeed. It's a throwback.
That's what the whole thing is.
It's a throwback. We can't have this succeed.
If this succeeds, then everything that we've done, calling everybody names, is for naught.
Yeah.
Because, it's going to succeed anyway. And it's going to. Because people as long as they don't do something stupid.
Well, it's a CW. You know they're going to do something stupid.
Probably.
If
you make good characters that are authentic to what people, especially if they're established characters that are authentic to what people know, and you tell good story with good characters, you can, and I'm sure they'll insert more diversity as it goes on and stuff. It's fine. People will respond to that.
Yeah, just don't do it in such a ham-fisted fashion. We're going to wrap this one up.
Yeah. Sorry, I was thinking about ham. I like ham.
Anyways. Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. We'll talk later.
Bye.